Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be reviewing another Xbox One game I've wanted to review, Thief, the 2014 game by Eidos Montreal and Square Enix. Now, this game's developed by the same people as Deus Ex Human Revolution, Eidos Montreal, and just like Deus Ex Human Revolution, it tries to play off the name of another franchise which also happened to be mostly a PC franchise, and it pretty much dumbs it down and casualizes it, and pretty much, just like Wolfenstein the New Order did, it shows everything wrong with games today in one game. So how terrible is this game? Let's start the review, shall we? So Thief is a stealth first-person shooter, as the original was on the PC. However, keep in mind, the only thing they have in common is the name Thief, the fact that the thief has the same name as the thief from the original, and the fact that they're both about stealing stuff. And their setting. That's really all they have in common because this game is kind of bleh. The first thing you need to know is when you start the game, it asks you for a Square Enix email address, and keep in mind this is for a single player game. And then it all goes downhill from there once you actually play the game. The first thing you need to notice is the amazing power of the Unreal Engine 3. The load times are long. I'm not joking. You'll just see it load, 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 and load for about 30 to 40 seconds. And keep in mind, this is a quote next gen game. However, you see, this isn't the real problem with this game, because when the game actually loads, the real problem begins. And what is that, you may ask? Well, everything with this game. The game takes place in a generic medieval setting where all of a sudden the rich and the poor are fighting because people are getting infected with a plague. And as you can see, that is an entirely original idea for a stealth game. But anyways, let's talk about the gameplay itself. The gameplay is this. You run around as this master thief named Garrett, who doesn't even share his voice from the original game, and your goal is to steal stuff, pretty much, and get through the level. Because really, that's all this game is. Walk forward to win. Sure, you're giving objectives, which are always straight ahead of you and indicated with waypoints. Gee, what video game does that sound like? Oh wait, it sounds just like Call of Duty. And let's be honest, I'm not saying this in a good way because this is supposed to be a stealth game, and to make matters worse, like I said, all these levels are linear, and keep in mind, the original Thief was not linear like this. And just as a testament to how casualized this game is, not only does this game use left trigger to do everything, but you'll notice you cannot walk off ledges most of the time. I mean, you have to push a button to get off a ledge. Especially if you're like, let's just say, chapter 1 or later on in the prologue. For example, you can push the button to jump off, but you can't just walk off. That's how casualized this game is. You can't even do it on purpose. You can't. You just can't accidentally walk off. And that just says a lot about this game, because when you actually play this game, it feels like it was casualized, especially with the linear corridors. And especially when you compare it to, the original Thief, which had wide open levels like Deus Ex did, and an M key, so you could push the M and you'd see the map instead of being like, have you ever played, what's that game called again? Oh yeah, I know. It's called Call of Duty. In this game, you'll run into a lot of situations like this, where you just press X, press LB, press this button to perform a takedown. And yes, this game can get annoying, especially since its takedowns can be like, Deus Ex Human Revolution? And yeah, this game just like Deus Ex Human Revolution, feels nothing like the original. And keep in mind, if you're going to make a game cashing in on a game, you might as well take the game and make it like the original instead of trying to cash in on an older game like what Thief blatantly does. Combat is a total joke too. When you're not walking in a straight line, you're trying to avoid the enemies. Now I know this is supposed to be a stealth game, but keep in mind when you get seen by the enemies, because after all, in this world, if you walk into the light, you're suddenly seen, but if you're in something that's slightly dark, nobody can see you. I don't know if they have vision issues or what. But long story short, you're supposed to run in and, like I said, steal stuff. Because that's really what you do in this game. And let me mention this. When you're playing this game can get frustrating, especially due to the fact that there's no real map and just a little mini map and a waypoint just like Call of Duty. So if you accidentally go in the wrong direction, you have to get into combat, and combat is clunky. So for example, let's just say you're trying to sneak past them here, and you get seen. Guess what? You're screwed, and you have to struggle with, like I said, the clunky combat system. And let me show you how it is. You really just push a button unless you have a weapon and stuff. I'm just pushing a button right here, and look at this. Look how clunky this combat is. I know this is supposed to be a freaking stealth game, but Jesus Christ, you can't even defend yourself because look how clunky this is. You just have two buttons, the trigger and the button that lets you twist around, and you mash those two buttons until you hope you kill the enemies. And that is what combat is in this game. It's so dull, it's boring, and frustrating. So in the end, this game really offers nothing special. Really, I mean, that's all you do in this game. Go forward, do stuff like a thief. It's boring. So let's talk about the graphics. The graphics are a joke. I mean, I'm not joking here. The graphics in this, just due to the fact that this game uses the Unreal Engine 3, despite this game being on a next-gen console, it looks and runs like an Xbox 360 game. Other than the resolution being higher, it looks like a 360 game. I mean, unless you compare the resolutions, somebody watching on YouTube isn't going to tell the difference between this game and, like, let's just say another late 360 game like BioShock Infinite, which isn't a graphical powerhouse either, but it should say something when that game looks better or about the same. And yeah, you gotta love that combat. It's so clunky, it's frustrating. And as you saw in the video footage earlier, there are indeed frame rate drops in this game. So, it looks terrible, and it plays terrible too. So, in the end, there's nothing really redeeming. I know, especially when you get into the light, it looks terrible. I mean, I know this is supposed to be a dark game, but this looks bad. Really bad. So what are my thoughts on this game? There's nothing redeeming about this game. From the terrible controls, which can take pressing the X button several times to, actually perform an action, which it seemed to for me, to, well, the fact that it abuses the left trigger instead of mapping stuff to other buttons. I mean, even the control scheme is casualized. And the worst part about this game is that it tries to pander on nostalgia. I mean, it has Thief in the name, and has a thief named Garrett, but it just sucks. It is not fun to play at all. Stay away from this game. Oh, and did I mention the graphics are terrible too? I mean, look, this looks like a 360 game. And of course the gameplay, pretty terrible, like I just said, and really, the storyline, just a cut and paste of Dishonored. Oh my god. plague is ravaging town, you must steal stuff except, well, from what I heard from a friend who played Dishonored, Dishonored's a lot better than this game. So my thoughts on this game? Please, avoid this game at all costs. Thanks for watching, subscribe for more, and really, there are better games that are less boring than Thief. Oh, did I mention, unlike Deus Ex or the older Thieves, you can't perform a non-lethal takedown like you can in the older Thieves? And look, gotta love that waypoint.